Goose uploaded this video to his gaming folklore channel a while ago, and when I came across it, I was inspired. He talks a lot about wave race speedrunning, and specifically on the first course of the game, Sunny Beach. I don't know exactly what it was, but just seeing the lines people were taking, I really felt like Wave Race 64 was a game that I should pick up again with the idea in mind to speedrun it. Plus I thought it would be interesting to figure out how my skills would fare against the greatest wave racers in the world thus far. So I got right to it. I found that runs achieved on the Switch's N64 collection were just as valid as runs on the original N64 according to the leaderboard, and immediately started up my game to see what times I could get without looking at any of the world record strategies. I locked in my favorite character, Ayumi Stewart, selected Sunny Beach, and that's where my journey began. My strategy at this time was to take as straight a line as possible, take turns as tight as I could without sacrificing speed, and find out what my best time could be. But something was off with my strategy, and it was pretty plain to see. I was often getting runs in the range of maybe 113 to 115, and the world record was saving more than 10 seconds on that time. There had to be more to this than I originally anticipated, so finally I looked into the current world record run. As it turns out, my time was slower largely due to my character of choice. Dave Mariner is the ideal speed character in this game, as his weight and top speed trumps every other character in the game, with a slightly more difficult time controlling things to balance him out. But with the custom watercraft settings the speedrunners were using, that became a non-issue. Now with an optimal speedrunning character in my arsenal, I began to take on runs again. I would end up scoring some 108s, some 107s, and eventually I would hit a 106 with a decent amount of time put into the game, but I knew that there had to be something missing. I took to YouTube, trying to find any and all wave race tips and tricks videos that I could, and eventually I stumbled upon Gilly Guide's channel. I found through his video, Controls and Movement Techniques Guide for Wave Race 64, that pressing B was a big factor in playing wave race quickly. By pressing B, your character will do a sort of crouch on their watercraft, keeping it closer to the water and thereby reducing airtime when you aren't accelerating. As it turns out though, by tapping B rhythmically during the course of your race, you could keep yourself so close to the water that you're basically always accelerating. You could push speeds of 124 and 126 to about 127 or 129 in some cases. Equipped with this new knowledge and a pretty quick improvement of my time to my first 105, ranking me in exactly 69th place at the time, I knew I would be able to start setting some good times and started recording my speedrun sessions for the leaderboard validation. Utilizing the lines I would see performed in the world record speedrun by ShibiPod, tapping B to the best of my ability, and finding more consistent ways to hit clean inside turns without losing speed, I would eventually lower my 105.519 to a 105.440, 105.420, and even just barely my first 104 time at 104.969, putting me officially less than 2 seconds away from the world record. It would take me an entire weekend to beat this time again, eventually landing a 104.491, but knowing what I knew about this game, I still felt like there was some technique I wasn't applying that runners ahead of me were. So I took to the Discord, and let me just say, this speedrunning Discord is very active and super supportive of new runners trying their hand at playing the game that they all love. I was welcomed in and given advice a numerous amount of times, and I don't know how much I would have improved my time further had it not been for the community here. I posted my PB in the Discord and pretty quickly started seeing people comment about how good a time this already was for having just started out. I also received some great advice telling me to work on getting my lines straighter and to improve my B presses on the tops of waves. Up to this point, I didn't even know that running over waves was an issue I needed to solve, so with a lead on some free time save, I took back to the world record run. See, ShibiPod uses an input display when he speedruns this game, and thankfully, that was instrumental in helping me iron out my wave riding. Inspecting his control stick inputs going over waves and getting better at using the B button going over them, I was starting to chip away at my time once again. I eventually achieved a 104.366 with some hard work, and shortly after, bopped it with a 104.255. On the cusp of being just 1 second behind the world record, I still had some time to shave off, and that's when Shibi updated the Discord to hold the community benchmark times on every level. These times were generally within a second of the world record on each course, and for Sunny Beach, the benchmark time was a 103. Sitting on my 104.255, I knew this was reachable. I would continue studying the game through old videos online and playing it myself, trying to iron out every little piece of my race for a new record time, but it wasn't easy. The record I had gotten already contained some of my fastest lap times on all 3 laps, and those weren't lap times I was easily able to replicate, but through a monumental effort, through another entire weekend of time, I was able to finally beat it. I achieved a 104.077, less than 1/10 away from the benchmark time on Sunny Sunny Beach, and in the same day I beat my 104.255 2 other times. But the 104.077 is actually where my record stands today. I'm sitting in 29th place on the leaderboard for the course, and I honestly still look at this PB with an eye to improve, seeing small imperfections and recognizing how I could have played it better. I haven't played now for a week or two, but it's for good reason. I want to hit my first 103 time on an original N64 console, one of which I just recently purchased about a week ago. With Wave Race 64, a perfectly functioning N64 console, and a near mint condition controller in my hands, all I need is a way I can record my gameplay, and I'll be back on the grind for a 103 time, and I'm almost certain the grind won't be stopping there. 103 may be the benchmark for this course, but the world record is a 103.186, quite a bit lower than a high 103 would be. Is there a potential legendary world record waiting to be scored on this course? All I can say is that any and all improvement I make from this point onward will be largely thanks to the Discord community helping me out with my techniques. I've talked to some legendary speedrunners in this field, including ShibiPod, IlluDude, Metalhead, and I feel like I have it in me to take this much further than I already have. If you like this video, feel free to drop a like on this video and maybe subscribe as well. My subscriber statistics aren't that well rounded as of the time of making this video, so if you'd like to turn that the other way with me, please click the subscribe button below. I make content here all the time, and there's almost certainly something you're going to want to stick around for. If there are any other speed games on the 64 that you'd like to see me break my way into, let me know in the comments down below, as I'm a fresh N64 owner now with all sorts of new horizons to chase. As for now though, my name is Myloe, and I'm out.